Okay, yep, it's being reported.
Just a little box in the corner.
Yeah, at the top it's like red.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I can see it.
You want to double check? Here. Before you do this whole thing and
I've done that though. I've done like an hour video. Why not?
Recording in progress.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry if not.
No, it's all right. So you can see it.
Mhm.
So basically what you want to do first of all is see orientation.
Mhm.
So if on the lab, if I had this on there, how would you know anterior from posterior?
The back part where the
What's my thumb on?
the medulla
Oh,
oblongata. That's
maybe
the
that's
that's
here.
posterior.
But what's this?
The pons.
The pons, right? And this would be the cerebellum. But more importantly, from lecture, what is this? Remember we went over the 3 layers?
Yeah,
This is the dura mater, yeah.
Yeah.
And it means tough mother. So, I mean, if you want to put gloves on, you can later, but I'm like
Oh, right.
literally pulling this thing, right? So it's super tough. All right, so we're going to cut some of that away.
Give you mine, but you go blind.
No, mine are over there. I just don't want to touch them.
Show me grab them.
They're in that blue case. Huh?
Put in your eye.
You can put them on right now. You do like a little optician.
People looking in the eye.
No.
Are they on?
No, it's in my ears.
Oh, is it on your ear?
Yeah, that's right. I got it. Okay.
You got it?
Thank you. All right. All right. So I'm going to cut this sagittally right down the middle. So remember, we have the 3 layers. And you guys remember it's floating around with cerebral spinal fluid. So if I asked you in your practical, what would be advantage of cerebral spinal fluid? Or what does it do?
Allows your brain to move around.
Yeah, it's buoyancy, right? And it's protection in case you get hit. It floats around. You know, it's kind of like walk. If you ever try to exercise or walk in a pool, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Because you got to walk through that water. Or if you're in a car accident, you have a contusion, and you get hit, your brain doesn't smash against the osseous skull, so you won't damage the neural tissue. Because remember, neural tissue can't grow back, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm here. This cranial nerve 2. So when you go to learn the cranial nerves, remember they're going to be numbered. They didn't do it sporadically. It's numbered 1 through 12 from superior to inferior. It's cranial nerve 2. This is the optic nerve. So right and left eye. But remember, these cross over. The medial fibers cross over. The lateral fibers stay the same. There's the superior colliculus going to be in here. It's going to help with interpreting sound and hearing. All right, and then remember, let me get all this off. I'm talking about the occipital lobe is back here. All right. But remember too, in your skull, the solid turcica is going to be here. Remember, your anterior pituitary gland is right here. So if you have an anterior pituitary tumor, it can start impinging on cranial nerve 2 and start losing some of your visual field. Actually, just for time's sake, I'm going to cut some of this away.
Sense though, because you have 2 that are going out towards each other.
Yeah. And you can lose a visual field, and your brain will fill in the image. You won't even know. So when you go and have an eye exam done, they're always, having you follow their fingers or whatever. Yeah. They're really checking to see. You could be following the finger, and that you wouldn't be able to see that, and then you'd know you have a visual field problem.
Is that for people who have like degenerative eye disease? Is that where?
Well, degenerative eye disease really generally that has to do with the retina.
Oh, okay.
And the retina is neural tissue too. So you're bringing in light, all right, to the back of the retina, and that's changing that light into an electrical signal going through the cranial nerves, superior, inferior colliculus, going all the way back. It's being interpreted in the back of the brain.
So this is the same for people with like strabismus. That's all muscle control.
Well, strabismus is, that's strictly having to do with your eye muscles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at, isn't that cool? Look at that. That's right down, that fissure right down the middle. I wish you had gloves on, you could see how this is really, I can't even pull that apart.
It's really strong.
It's super strong, all right?
That's the dura mater.
The dura mater, right? It's dividing here. And remember, this is surrounding everything,
Oh, so it's
Spinal
infusing
cord,
it into
the
the.
entire central nervous system. So that is your spine, everything. The
Is the
whole-
spinal fluid on the inside or the outside?
It's inside, and then you have, I don't know if you can see this in the video,
What about the pia mater that in the
pia mater.
pia mater?
Pia mater is, we're gonna get to that.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
there. Yep. Good question. And then we have the arachnoid matter. Remember
Yes,
the arachnoid
yeah.
matter is there. It helps reabsorb the cerebral spinal fluid. It's almost like tentacle type things that are coming out. Try not to,
It really holds and everything.
I mean, it's real, this is really, really durable. I haven't done one with the dura mater in a long time, but I grabbed this one today just to give you an idea. I'm gonna just literally cut that. And then I think what we'll do is we'll do a sagittal cut on this, and I'll keep it.
Mhm.
And we have break next week, right?
Yes.
So after break, we can revisit this if you want. Is it showing up in the video or am I
Yeah.
hiding all that? Sorry. Just quickly. So what am I pulling the dura mater off of right now?
Um,
Now orientate yourself. If you say, you know,
Oh, I can't.
that's I have no idea what you're doing. Orientate yourself. Where am I? Anterior or posterior?
Your
Posterior.
Posterior. Oh, look at how delicate that is. I just broke.
That's the cerebral.
No, I just busted his bonds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's gonna have some breathing issues. I'm sorry.
I think.
Because your respiratory centers are in here. Sorry, I feel terrible.
Good thing you're not a brain surgeon.
Wow, this is really tissue. Yes, I would be taking my time if I was making a video. Oh, it's just completely tethered on there.
It's really strong.
It's really, really. I'm surprised.
Oh, wow.
I should use that instead of duct tape to fix things.
Well, that's enough for now. So I have super glue in there. I could do this, but. So anterior, because this is rostral,
Mhm.
because they don't stand, they're bipedal. So anterior, posterior, you can see caudal, rostral, those different terms. So there's your pons, there's your spinal cord.
So is the pons attached to the medulla?
Oh, it's all one.
Okay.
They're not, they have different functions, but try not to think of them as separate parts.
Okay.
It's not like a bunch of Legos that can snap them in and out.
Mhm.
They're a bunch of nerve tracks. They're all connected. So the pons, literally, when the signals come down, it goes to the pons and it sends them around. So the pons really coordinates signals, sends to the cerebellum. And then if you've had lecture already, what is the cerebellum? What is the responsibility of the cerebellum?
Is that memory?
Nope.
Balance.
Balance. Very good. Yes. So cerebellum, just remember it has two L's. It's going to be fine motor function. You have no idea how durable this is. It's unbelievable. It's gonna just fall apart. So there's your cerebellum. It means little brain. And when we cut that in half, you're going to see the arborvitae. It's going to look like a tree. Right. So you have left and right hemispheres. Remember, the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body because it crosses over in the medulla oblongata. So signals left side of your brain come down here, they cross over, starts going to the right side of your body. Signals from the right side of your body coming up cross over here and they go here. And then we're gonna look at the homunculus, those afferent centers that tell you where impulses are coming from, and we'll go over the motor. Sorry, but do you see how glistening that is?
Mhm.
Maybe you can see that. Sandra Castera?
Yes.
So that literally is water, but that's literally, you see when I push in there? Can you see how thin that is? And I said it's gonna look like saran wrap, but even thinner.
Yes.
So, I mean, it could go in and get that. You see how it's divoting in? So that's a pia mater. So it's literally touching the brain. It's intimate with the brain. Then you've got cerebral spinal fluid, you've got the arachnoid matter, and then you've got the pia mater. So there's the 3 layers. But we saw the pia mater,
Right.
super durable. And then there's cerebral spinal fluid deep to that. So we'll cut this apart, and then we'll kind of maybe look at some cranial nerves. And then maybe we'll clean this up maybe a little bit more next week.
When you cut it sagittally, will you be able to see like the corpus callosum?
You absolutely are. If you put gloves on, you can do it.
I'll let you do it, not for the video. If you weren't recording, I would.
Okay, no problem. All right, so when you're dissecting, right, you're not carving a turkey. So it's gonna go, can you see that in the video?
Yes.
So it's gonna go from superficial to deep. Just really a little bit of pressure with my index finger. And I'm letting the blade do all the work. Okay, it's not serrated, it's not a knife. So I'm relatively deep, right? You
Yes.
see how deep I'm going? Try to get this cut as mid-sagittal as I can get it. What did I forget? Cranial Nerve Two. This is a practice one anyway, so it's all right. That's not
You got
really,
like 30 of them in the back.
all right, remember, now, this is your cerebellum.
Oh,
Now, like I said, there's an arborvitae right there.
Yep.
That means white tree, right? So, from lecture, anything that's white fiber, what does that mean?
It's myelated.
Myelinated, right? So myelinated fibers are going to generally carry, all the information is important. It's going to carry information that's going to carry much faster, right? So, I mean, this is similar to the human brain, right? Anterior, posterior. So. Spray me a bit.
So you can't really define the like
Well,
corpus.
I can.
Oh, I see now.
What is that?
That's a corpus.
Corpus callosum. What does that do? It's myelinated.
So
So
signals or
Well, it lets the right and left side of the brain communicate with each other. But so if you do something called hemisync or binomial beats, you can train the left and right side of your brain to talk to each other. Okay. And this is what they call if somebody has a bunch of seizures.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right. And then we can just kind of go from superior to inferior. All right. So according to that, We have the pons, which I kind of hacked part, and the medulla oblongata.
Looks like it's upside down.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what's going on?
It fits upside down, but it's not supposed to go up.
Yeah, this thing is just literally falling apart.
See this side?
Yeah, it's kind of like that because in humans it would be going straight down, but this
Mhm.
is a shoot.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it's coming in this way. That's why it looks. But in a human, it would be down like that.
Mhm.
Okay, and the foramen magnum would be here, big hole,
Mhm.
right, cerebellum. But so if I go to pull this apart, so in the practical, if I were to pin like this area up here, what would you tell me that was?
The precentral.
Okay, exact. If you want to talk about the pre or post central sulcus or the central sulcus, posterior to that is where the afferent fibers come in. Anterior, that's where the efferent. So we went over afferent and efferent. Afferent stuff coming in. Remember, it's coming in on the right, crossing over the medulla oblongata, going to the other side of the brain. It's going to register here on the homunculus.
Mhm.
That'll tell us a map of the body. It'll tell your brain where that information is coming from. Then it's going to send the information forward to the pre-central sulcus, which is the primary efferent motor function, sending that response back out. Okay, so information is coming up here. It's registering where it is. Your brain, this is the cortex. Right, this is where all the neurons are for the brain. This is the neocortex, the new part where our thinking is. It has to interpret where that information is coming from. So it knows whether it's pain, it's pressure, it's hot, it's cold. It knows what it is. Light, touch, it discriminates. And we'll go over it in lecture today. We'll go over the homunculus. And then it's going to send a signal forward for a proper response. It sends it back down. Remember, as on the way down, it has to go through. You guys remember the hypothalamus? Remember the thalamus, the editing center? Probably not, but okay. It has to go through the thalamus. Right, all the information has to go through the thalamus, and it's going to edit out 90% of all this information. So only 10% of the impulses actually make it up here to be registered. So when they're in the practical, if I pin something, it'll be really obvious. Or if it's not obvious, you know what? You can figure out what it is. Anterior, posterior, superior, inferior. Right?
So is that what so when they say like if you have a delay in like processing, is that where like the delay comes in, or
delay in processing.
like so if you like say how alcohol inhibits like your reaction time, is that what you mean by like it edits?
No, it edits like if we're in a lecture right now, I'd ask you how your chair feels.
The chair?
Yeah, but were you thinking about the chair until I said something?
No.
Your thalamus was editing it out, that it wasn't important. All the
Oh,
information
okay.
was editing it out. Right, so yeah, this is probably not my best dissection. So maybe we'll get the brain model out and go over that, but just figure out corpus callosum. You're going to go into the third ventricle where the hypothalamus is, and then, you know, in lecture or lab, I could ask you what the hypothalamus does. All right, anterior pituitary gland is going to be over here. Hypothalamus is going to figure out the constituents of your cerebral spinal fluid. And it's going to send that information forward to the anterior pituitary gland to send out all those hormones to regulate your body for homeostasis.
Mhm.
See if there's any salvageable really have. So when you're so when you're learning all the cranial nerves, just realize they go from 1 to 12. There's remnant of cranial nerve 1 factory.
Mhm.
So remember, olfactory is for smell It also is involved with taste. So when you breathe things in, like, you know, if you have a cold, things taste differently.
Mhm.
Right? And then if you have ever used Lysol, the spray,
Mhm.
we talk about this yet?
Mhm.
So Lysol kills 99% of everything, right?
Mhm.
What about the 0.1%? What's that?
Bacteria.
Well, it is, but it's endospore bacteria. Clostridium, bacillus, they make endospores. Not important for right now, but does it get rid of odors?
No. Is it supposed to?
It's supposed to get rid of odors, but I want to point that out that it doesn't really get rid of odors. It actually numbs cranial nerve 1. So the odor's still there, you just can't smell it. So I'm gonna probably throw this out. I don't think there's much salvageable with it. So we did see a couple structures. Sorry, that didn't turn out really.
Still cool.
Right.
Right, so we can turn the
Yeah.
video off if you want, or I'll leave this out if you want to put gloves on and just
Yeah.
touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. I've touched enough brains.